Hello and welcome to That Shooting Show. My name's Steve Anderson. I am your humble host. We are joined with the mighty Kita Busse today to talk about world shoot things. We're going to be going over the matchbook. We're going to be going over international travel logistics and some South African customs. And of course, we'll be talking about the mental game as well. Hello, Kita. Thank you for joining us once again.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's go ahead and get the matchbook fired up. So
Before we get into the matchbook, I'd like to check if anyone has any questions about logistics for getting to the world shoot and what to do, traveling around, things like that.
And we forgot to dry fire muting and unmuting, so you might want to practice that a little bit.
Does everybody understand what's going on with the ammo limitations? And everyone has their permits? I guess that's a yes.
Yeah. They'd be pretty close to the event to not have that stuff ironed out, don't you think?
And also, if you're not, if you are going and you're not from South Africa, please do not drive at night in Joburg. So if you're landing later in the day, it's better to get a hotel near the airport than to try to drive at night somewhere. All right, so if we don't have any questions on logistics, we can move on to the stages. So as far as the stages in a matchbook, we don't want to be making plans from the matchbook because it's always going to be different on the ground once it's set up. So we're only looking for anything unusual. So who knows what the unusual thing is on stage 1? It's okay to speak.
Gino, have you looked at the matchbook?
I've briefly looked at it. I've not had a chance to really dive deep,
Then you're the best one to
unfortunately.
ask. What is the unique challenge on this stage?
Okay, let me see. Well, I'm left-handed shooter, so for me, it's a case of is it unique enough for me to get an advantage? I can see the fact that you need to move right into the corner in order to engage to the right-hand corner in order to engage the popper. So that requires some planning specifically. So instead of moving to the left, I would move to the right first. That's at least what I can see.
Look at the stage briefing itself, the description. Does anything there jump out to you?
It's got the mini targets, mini popper.
Doesn't that seem like an awful lot of targets, Gino?
Yeah, it's a large stage, which means being more deliberate with the shots and getting as much points as possible is more beneficial.
Yeah, so those 3 targets on the right-hand side are probably going to be half scale, would be my guess. And it's also 1 hit per target that will be scored.
Did you already know that, Gino, and you just didn't mention it? Or did you not know?
Yeah, I read the portion there, best 1 hit per target will count. It didn't register at the time.
Okay. And one thing about 1 shot per target, it's very common for people who haven't done 1 shot per target before to get a second sight picture because they're so used to it. And you don't really have a lot of time to practice it. But if you do any 1 shot per target dry fire, which you absolutely should do, just be cognizant of the fact that you do not need that second sight picture that you're, well, so many shooters don't even get second sight pictures, so maybe it's not abnormal. But just be advised that you do not need that customary second sight picture.
All right, can you scroll down a little bit? I think it said something about, oh, that's all of it. Okay. Okay, and the next stage where there was something different that jumped out for me was stage number 8.
Okay.
Can you scroll down to stage 8, please?
I'm just gonna linger just a little bit for the recording so people can see it on the recording.
Okay.
But I'll get there very shortly. I was noticing that these stages look very, very simple and almost boring, which could be a good thing. Do you have any thoughts on that, Keto, while we're scrolling?
Yeah, they're pretty straightforward for the most part.
Okay, stage 8.
It says stage 8 is strong hand only for the entire field course. So it is, I would say, fairly unusual to see a longer field course, medium to long, where it requires strong hand only or weak hand only for the entire thing. So that's what jumped out to me next.
And one thing I'd like to add on this one is right-handed shooters will always shoot better strong hand only, shooting from the right to the left because you're stronger in that direction. So if it makes sense for you to shoot this right to left, that is something that should be. And Keita, do you have any tips on strong hand only observing the 180, or is it basically the same?
No, the 180 doesn't change, but I will say it does help with the dot to return more predictably if you point your elbow straight down at the ground and have some bend in it. Otherwise, if you lock out your elbow, a lot of people think that at the world shoot level, we're probably going to see people doing it properly anyway, but I'll just mention it for any listeners. Some people think that you stand like freestyle and just take one hand away, but then as the gun recoils, if you're right-handed, it'll go up and to the left. But blading your body, getting your mass behind the gun, and then rotating your elbow downward toward the ground, having a little bit of bend in that elbow will help make the dot return predictably.
Okay.
Just
What's the next?
just a quick question. It says standing as demonstrated. Is there a secret to when it's not demonstrated? It's just anywhere in the.
When it's standing as demonstrated, that usually means it's going to be facing directly downrange. Sometimes it also means it's going to be wrist below belt. Maybe your feet are touching each other so they can't be spread apart. When I hear standing as demonstrated, I picture somebody basically standing at attention in the military,
Got it.
facing directly downrange. That's usually what I expect to see when I see that.
And because we do have a lot of start positions identified, is it safe to assume that standing as demonstrating could mean start anywhere? Or likely to mean that?
It's probably going to be start anywhere, but what they want is for you facing directly downrange with your hands by your sides and your feet together, more
Correct.
than likely.
And I would like to add, do not argue with the ROs and or try to gain the start position. Just do what you're told politely.
Yes. One thing was pointed out. I've got one of the members that's actually ROing there. One thing that was pointed out is that eyes forward, head forward as well.
Yes.
Don't deviate from that. And if the RO checks you, put your feet together if you have to. Generally, they won't force your feet straight together that you don't have proper balance. So it's just standing at ease with hands below waist belt.
Yes, that is correct. They will actually look at your eyes and make sure your eyes are straight forward. And they will not let you start until they are.
And there's nothing you can do to gain the start position that's going to matter. So just do what you're told and be polite.
Okay, the next one that jumped out to me was stage 11.
Okay. As we get there, we're just going to take a quick glance at these. I'd like to add that every piece of steel at this match is plus or minus 1.5 seconds to your overall match time. So match mode dry fire on steel will definitely pay off between now and then. Did you say stage 11, Kita?
Yes.
Stage 11.
Okay, so this is loaded, lying flat in either box. All mags lying flat in either box. Is the box on the ground or is that supposed to be a table?
Boxes are on the ground. Left-handed shooter, gun is on the left-hand side, mags on the right-hand side, and vice versa for right-handed shooter.
So when it says magazines lying flat, this made me wonder if that means it has to be on the side versus propped the way we normally would prop them to grab them
Um,
efficiently.
It can lay flat. When they say when they're saying flat, they're referring to the magazines can't be upright,
Propped.
resting on the base plate. So that means you
Okay,
can't take the firearm, and if you need to use a magazine, release the mag and just plop the gun on top of the magazine to load.
understood. So I had that kind of circled in my notebook because I wasn't sure what they meant by that for sure.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to get some footage of the auto shoot
Okay,
of this one as well.
and that's hopefully you were able to see the activator sequences.
No, I didn't. It's just the footage has to be from behind the line. I think that's one thing they made very clear is that any footage that's taken and any person filming can't actually step beyond
Oh, of
the
course,
shooting area as well.
right. Now, did they, at this range, did they have that small gravel that they filled in to the fault lines?
Mm. The gravel that they filled into the fault lines.
At this, you said you saw video
Mhm.
or you were able to see the stages already. And
Yes,
I'm
correct.
not
Yes,
sure. Say again?
correct.
So I shot nationals there and they had this really small gravel they dumped inside the fault lines. And right after they would dump it in, it would be very, very slippery. But as the day
And
went
muddy
on, it was
when it
not.
rains. They did clear up most of it. They did lots of renovations there over the last few months. I know there's one gravel section that they've actually paved out as well to
Oh,
move
wow.
between the different sections of the stages. And luckily, there hasn't been a lot of rain in the last few weeks. So there's no muddy condition and no loose gravel
Oh, good.
from what I can see on the stages that I've seen. And also the live one that came out today. We got a chance to see some of the footage there.
That's good. Yeah, if you ever see fresh gravel added after you've done your walkthrough, make sure you get another walkthrough if they change the terrain.
What's the
Oh,
weather like right now, Gino?
Um, it was a bit cold here in Cape Town. The weather's actually
really?
fairly good that side.
Okay.
It
Okay,
was moderately hot.
stage 13.
Okay.
All right, so we have chamber empty, magazine inserted and holstered. So classic shooters will have to reload. So just taking note of the start with the empty chamber. Sometimes people will get so excited about taking that first shot that they forget to rack the round into the chamber. Just remember to think about what's first. All right, and 15.
Keita, I'd be very interested if you have any hit factor predictions you want to share with us. I know I would be very fascinated to hear that and hear what that process sounds like for you.
Well, that's tough because it varies for everyone. Everyone's stats are different.
Sure.
Right, so this is loaded, lying on the table. all magazines on the table. Sitting on the bench, hands on knees. And you guys with your short shorts in South Africa, if you're wearing shorts, and I know you've mentioned this before too, Steve, if you're wearing shorts and you have sunscreen on your knees, that can be an issue,
Or sweat, or both.
right? So the day you're shooting this stage, if you planned to wear shorts, I would maybe plan to wear pants instead. And this is also weak hand only.
How so? Can you explain the sunscreen on the knee thing?
If you have to start with both hands on your knees and you have sunscreen on your
Never
knees, it's
mind,
gonna
never
get on your
mind.
hands. It'll be like picking up a bar of soap when you go to
Yeah,
pick up your
yeah.
gun.
Yeah, it took me a second.
Right,
Yeah, I mean, it could be debilitating. At the very least, it would be very distracting to have slippery hands all of a sudden.
right. So this whole course of fire is weak hand only. So the challenge here may be if, if you're putting a mag on a magnet, doing that with the other hand, because you're not used to doing it that way.
Yeah.
You kind of have to reach across your body. It might, if you're one of those guys who has to reload on this stage, I don't know, I might even just come back to the table for it versus trying to figure out doing things backwards.
One thing to note that I've picked up is with the preparation that the guys from the SA team were doing, there was very strong emphasis on making sure that with your weekend that you lift the gun up unassisted, which means you should not. I think it plays to the rule book itself. There's some section there that states that you should not lift the gun and assist the gun with your hand that you're picking the gun up with. That means if you're picking it up with your weak hand, that you don't use your
Yes.
strong hand to lift it up as well.
Hmm.
So it
Um,
must be unassisted.
I'm not sure about that. So I believe it's only while you are engaging targets that it must be unassisted.
Well, that's just
That's-
a great example of something that once you have that conversation with the RO, just do what you're told.
Yes, I would ask the RO because I believe it's only while you are shooting.
That's really awkward for a right-hand person to pick up weekend off a table.
Yes. Yes, I would just ask the RO, is it okay if I use my right hand to help me pick up the gun? As long as I am not shooting during that time, obviously you wouldn't be. I believe that is legal. Unless they specifically want to tell you you can't do this, like there was another match, I don't remember if that was Australia or South Africa, but they said specifically between two ports, you could not have your finger on the trigger even though you weren't moving. So as if they say it in the stage description or if they tell you, then just do whatever they say.
And from a preparation standpoint, most people watching this, you do have time to pick up your gun without using the other hand. What does that look like? How do I do that? Just in case that is something that happens.
Yeah,
You know, little tiny things like that can derail your mental process so easily, and cause you to not be thinking about the right thing while you're actually shooting.
we have stage 16. 1 foot touching mark. I just thought that was interesting that it was 1 foot.
Kind of weird.
But without any other description, that means you can do pretty much whatever you want with your other foot. Okay, stage 17. Weak hand on X. It doesn't say what to do with your strong hand, so that means it's going to default to wrist below belt. Stage 20. Okay, so we have chamber and magwell empty, lying on the table. All mags on the table. Heels touching, audible start. So, oh, let me go back for a second to the one where you start seated. If you have the option between, you don't have to go back. If you have the option of staying seated to shoot or standing up to shoot, always stand up to shoot because that's how we practice. And so this is going to be running to the table, picking up and loading the gun. MP1, where's that? Oh, so the popper activates the mover. And it looks like they're trying to force strong hand only by holding the port open. And they're probably putting that table there to make sure you can't prop it up on your head. Also, I've noticed the ports in South Africa tend to be the ones that you hold with your hand. They tend to make them really small, so you can't really fit your head and arms through very well by balancing it on your head. You pretty much just have to hold it open. Okay. Wait, did we have, oh yeah. Yeah, I think that's gonna end up being strong hand only, but you'll see when you get a chance to manipulate the port. Right, stage 20 is condition 3. So chamber and magwell empty. Oh, we just did that. Oh, you wrote down 20 twice when you took the notes for me.
Yeah, I know. We had a slight issue there.
Yeah. Right,
I think
stage
there's
22,
okay.
condition 2. Now this one's interesting. It says kneeling, hands on X, chamber empty, magazine inserted and holstered. So you're gonna have to, ideally, you'll be racking the slide as you're getting on your feet out of the kneeling position. Now, when it says kneeling, it doesn't say both knees must be down. So they're probably going to demonstrate for you how you need to be kneeling. And if I got to choose, I would have my right knee down and excuse me, and left knee up if I'm going to the left.
And wearing pants.
Wearing a knee pads.
Lamont, do you go to a lot of matches without your pants? Is it gonna be new for you?
uh, Shorts,
Oh, of course.
not quite like our friend. They're not that tight, but
Of course.
For stage 22, you wouldn't have to have pants on, but you'd probably want some knee pads. And if you are able to put a port on your head to prevent strong hand only shooting, it helps to put a towel under your hat. Otherwise, that little bead on top of your hat will cut your head. Okay.
It's funny, Keita, the last time I looked at this date book with somebody made that exact observation that actually happened to them the first time they tried that.
Oh, really? It didn't happen to me, but I've seen it happen. I just stay away from post hole drivers.
I checked the handbook now regarding the strong hand. There is a
Okay.
section there, section 10.2.8 that says a procedural, the shooter will incur a procedural for each occurrence of touching the handgun or scooping it from the table with the other hand after the start
Oh,
signal. Yeah. So yes, if you assist your weak hand with your strong hand, when you lift the gun off the table, they'll give you a procedural for that.
okay. Thank you for clarifying that for us.
Yes, Gino, thank you very much for doing that research. We appreciate you.
Pleasure. I wasn't even sure. I know it's in the rule book. I just actually never looked it up, so I did know.
Yes, thank you for that. Yeah,
There
and
was
USPSA and IPSC are slightly different in their rule books. Okay, stage 24. This is a shorthand only field, shorthand, strong hand only field course. My mother wrote in shorthand.
You said that because I wrote SHO probably.
Yep, you did. Shorthand only field course. I like it. Right, that was the only thing, is that it's strong hand only. Stage 20.
And I just want to remind everybody one more time, anytime you're shooting one-handed, you tend to shoot better in. So right-hand shooters will shoot better right to left typically. Left-hand shooters will shoot left to right typically. If the stage makes sense, just keep that in mind.
26 was next.
26.
All right, yeah, loaded, lying flat on the table, all mags flat on the table. Feel a touchy mark, so again, running to the table and scroll down a little bit. Weak hand only once again. So that's, with all the strong hand only, weak hand only, that's really good to know that you cannot assist in picking up the gun.
And Keita, does this look like more one-handed shooting than you were expecting?
Yes.
Okay, so
I would expect some strong hand, some weak hand, but not entire field courses.
right. And it's possible that this one-handed shooting could determine the outcome of this match. I think there's 4
Absolutely.
now that are one-handed. So I think we're above 10%. Pretty interesting.
Stage 27. Did
Just
we
bear in
do that?
mind, you can release the safety if you a standard shooter. If you want to, if you're picking up strong hand, you can use your weak hand, you can use your strong hand to disengage the safety. That's the allowance that they have there.
Interesting.
And then what if your fingers inadvertently touch the gun during a reload?
Now the reload won't make a difference because you're gonna have to you have the option of generally what we practiced was picking up if you're starting unloaded, picking up 2 magazines, placing the one in the gun and keeping the other magazine in your other hand. So as you shoot in the stage, you shoot it with the magazine in your hand itself. So
I mean, if
then you
you're
can
doing a reload, then you might end up touching the gun as you load the magazine.
yeah, the reloads are the exception. You can switch to your strong hand to do a reload and then switch back to your weak hand.
Okay.
At least that's how we trained it at the club here in False Bay in Cape Town.
Like I said, the rules are slightly different between USPSA and IPSC. So again, thank you for pointing that out.
And Keita, you had some comments about this one because the slider is visible at rest.
Yes, I think it's going to be better to take it on the move if you possibly can. Yeah, this one's really gonna be skill dependent, but it looks like it is available at rest as well.
It is available at rest, and that will just be a strategy choice based on your
Based on skill level.
because there is a penalty target in the middle of that, and you could
Yeah,
rack up a lot of penalty points.
So this is where predicting hit factor can be helpful, where you know your skill level, you know your numbers and what you can do consistently. So you should know for you about what your hit factor should be on the stage, taking it while moving versus taking it at the end, and then balancing that risk versus reward with that no shoot on there.
And one thing that I'd like to point out is if there are interim results available, and there will be, you could very easily go to stage 27 and see what the hit factors have been. My opinion is if there's somebody you know with similar skill who shot a 6, you can expect to shoot a 6. I wouldn't suggest you should attempt to shoot a 6, but that's very likely what you're going to do. And you can use that information to make decisions.
Yeah, this is gonna be really skill level dependent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and also keep in mind, if you do decide to shoot it while it's moving, let's say, I don't want to put this in your head, but say you do have a hit on the no shoot and you go to make it up, you are just as likely to hit another no shoot as you are to hit the brown. And at that point, I might just have a contingency plan.
Yeah. I mean, there's gonna be a reason why letting it stop is not beneficial.
And when it stops, it's also going to bounce.
Hmm,
So it'll appear and disappear even after it comes to the end.
okay.
And the time you lose as well. Because now
Yes,
you need to go all the way to the right-hand side,
Yep.
because it's going to be behind that barrier. So you
yes,
have to engage it from the far right-hand side as well.
Yep.
yes. Obviously, time-wise, it's going to be better to take it while moving. That's why I said, if possible for your skill level, take it while moving. But then you also need to decide whether or not it's worth making up a mic when it's at rest. I don't think it will be. And then if
And
you're
he's,
trying to
you know,
make up a no shoot, again, the likelihood of hitting another one is very high.
and his 2 no shoots worth losing 2.5 to 3 seconds maximum.
That depends on how many seconds you would take at your skill level.
Mm.
So it depends on your hit factor for you. Like
Now,
if you have a higher hit factor, then I'm not going to be making up any mics.
Gino, have you been to this range before?
Um, no, I've not been to this one yet.
Because typically somebody with local knowledge is not only going to know about a moving target situation, they're going to have information about that prop specifically because they've seen it before.
Yeah, I did. Um, competitors went last year, and the whole place was flooded. It was during the rainy season, and the whole place was totally flooded during that time. And so that's when they started doing most of the backfilling, trying to get rid of the gravel as much as possible as well.
Okay. Next stage, Kita.
Yeah, I have a feeling that slider is not going to be super fast.
Right. I wouldn't expect it to be super fast either. But there's a reason why they're making it visible at rest to cause you to have strategy question.
Yes, yes. Yeah, I would say the lower class you are, the more it would be worth taking at rest.
Right.
Because the slower you are, the more you need those alphas. Hey, 29.
What in the world is that?
It's Ronald McDonald's hand.
I almost want to go to South Africa just so I can see this hand.
I know at first I wondered if it was a balloon or something, but it would have to be solid for competitive equity.
Mhm.
All right, so loaded, lying flat on the mark on the table, all mags on the other mark. Once again, standing as demonstrated. Scooch down a little bit. P1 activates T1. P2 activates T3. All moving targets available at rest. I think I just wrote this down because it's gun loaded on the table. Just to take note of that for another table start.
This is certainly one of the most interesting ones I've seen in a while.
Right? It's gonna be cool to see what that hand's made. So, that hand has to be constructed out of something that can be painted and or taped so that bullet marks are obvious.
I think that's all I had in my notes of things that jumped out at me that I would take note of.
Gino, do these stages look simpler than you thought they were going to?
Um, they seem to have good flow. The
Yeah,
the the spacing seems nice enough that your transitions count more than anything, yeah.
And remember, in this match, sweet spots are bad. Try to split up the targets throughout the stage as much as possible, so you never stop shooting.
Mm.
Sweet spots also create more difficult shots typically. All right.
And there, it looks like there are some speed traps here as well. So you could easily overshoot the 90 as you're shooting.
sure.
Yeah, that you just have to. I tell people to have some sort of a visual cue at eye level if possible. So can you put that back up, please, Steve?
Oh, of course. I'm sorry. I thought you were done.
I kind of was, but he brought something else up.
I have to go to that web page again. Oh, nope, it's ready.
So you might have some sort of visual indicator, like for example, when the wall to the right of T3 lines up with the right side of T3, that means
Mm.
my body cannot move anymore until I've finished engaging that target.
So
Correct, yes. And that's the
USPSA now has a rule where they're not allowed to show you a target that breaks the 180. Gino, do you know if IPSC has that same rule or not?
Yeah, they do.
so the understanding with IPSC is that they're not supposed to set it up that you deliberately break the 180.
Okay,
So
perfect.
they can't put you in a position where they deliberately trying to make you break the 180. I think that's the only requirement with IPSC.
Okay.
Yeah, so the 180s will be blocked. But yeah, I usually pick out when this wall is lined up with this target in this way. I know that if I'm seeing that, my body needs to stop moving until I'm finished with that target.
So
Then
if anybody has live fire opportunities between now and then, you want to be looking at steel, a lot of steel. You want to do a little bit of one shot per target. That's very unusual, and you've got plenty of time to be dry firing in match mode. Your one-handed shooting.
and one-handed pickups.
Yes, for sure. You one-handed pickups.
All right,
Just
that's
thinking about it right now, I don't think I've ever picked a gun up off the table. Support hand only.
I think
I
it was
have.
weekend, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Support hand only. Yep.
yes.
It's weak and strong end.
Mhm.
Yeah. All right, any questions on any of these stages? Again, do not make a plan from the matchbook. We're just looking for anything weird that jumps out.
So
Uh,
as a general rule, when you say don't make a plan from the matchbook, because I have one for something coming up, um, I think I've heard that before. Why specifically do you say, is it easier to create your stage plan when you actually physically see it as opposed to correcting something you thought you already had programmed in?
Well, first of all, you don't really want to program it in from the matchbook either because, well, things might change on the ground, right?
Right.
If they set it up, they might decide they're going to pull a target or add another target or move something around. So it's not ever going to be the same. And the dimensions don't always match either. So you might look at the matchbook and go, oh, I can shoot all that on the move. And then you realize they're a lot farther away than you thought.
Right.
Maybe it ends up being a partial that you didn't anticipate.
And from a mental game component, you're playing around with your confidence there. If you've got a stage plan created from the matchbook and you have to change it, you're already going to have a negative opinion of that stage. You're already going to have an imprint to your self-image that says, "Oh, I had this all figured out. Now I have to change it,"
Right.
because your opinion of your stage plan is more important than your stage plan.
Got it.
So when you walk the stages the day before the match, don't cement that plan into your brain because you might want to tweak something. Get a general idea, but don't cement it into your brain until your walkthrough before you shoot.
And when she says cemented into your brain, what she really means is don't try to make it subconscious yet.
Yes,
Correct.
that's exactly what I mean.
My
You,
my
you,
Steve my Steve Anderson 12 to 20 times.
you just want to, during your pre-walk, you want to create enough familiarity so that when you get back to it, you have this feeling of, oh, I've seen this before. I know what to do. You certainly don't want to try to visualize an entire 12, certainly not a 30 stage match. You'll drive yourself nuts. But you do want to get that done for your first day.
And also when you're doing the actual timed walkthrough, there might be just one spot that you're not sure about. Oh, where can I see this target from? It is acceptable to go directly to that spot and cut the line, as long as you're not getting in anybody else's way. Just pop right in and pop right back out so you're not obstructing anyone, and then get in the line. Just to verify that one spot you weren't sure about. And
And
if
that-
you say again,
I just had a question, but go ahead, please continue.
the people in other countries make fun of the Americans because we all stand in line and go in order, and other countries do that too. But you'll see a lot of people where it's like ants on a watermelon. It's cultural.
And do we know if this match is going to be staff reset or competitive reset, Gino?
Yeah,
Staff
staff.
reset, and they're actually scoring while you're shooting,
Right.
because they use the hand signals. One thing I picked up is it's 2 minutes for the small stages, so they limit you to 2 minutes for walkthrough. So just squeeze as much time as you can.
Yeah, you might get one walkthrough. And just make sure you're picking your spots on your targets instead of just looking at the locations.
You want to talk about that? Talk about that just a little bit more, Kita?
Some people, when they're doing their walkthrough, are trying to remember the location of all the targets. It needs to be more than that, especially at the world shoot. It's not just where is my target, it's where do I want my eyes to go on that target.
Yeah, I struggle with that. I know that in my brain, but in go time I struggle with that.
Well, you can also put that in your mental rehearsal or your visualization, which
Correct.
you should be doing more of that than your physical walkthrough anyway. Kita has a really good section about that in her book called the Quiet Eye.
Yes.
Transformational in terms of looking at a smaller spot instead of just seeing a giant target.
Any other questions for me before I take off?
No
I have a
questions
class
from my
tomorrow,
side.
so I have to get to the airport.
Yeah, Kita is doing this on her only day off in what, like the next 30 days or so.
I can't remember the last time I had a day off.
All right, Kita, thank you so much for joining us. Have a great evening.
All right, bye guys. Have fun.
Bye.
You too.
All right, let's talk about pressure. Is anybody feeling pressure?
Not me. I'm not shooting, so
Okay.
I'm just observing and trying to mentally prep for the time coming when
Okay.
I'm going to shoot at this level.
Do you ever feel pressure at matches?
Um, I've been the last match I shot. I was extremely upset afterwards. One competitor deliberately interrupted my walkthrough,
Okay.
and it actually resulted in me pausing halfway through the stage because I thought they didn't reset the stage properly. Meanwhile, I already engaged the targets. He threw me so off my game, my mental game. And it's a guy that I've been very close to on a D level. And over the last 3 months, watching your YouTube clips and that, I jumped to B level. And it seems like he deliberately tried to throw me off my game, and I never expected it. And I was more upset with myself that I fell for it than
Okay.
anything. So that's the pressure that I'm feeling. I feel it feels almost like people's out for me now. It's like I'm starting to perform a bit, and now I see that competitive nature of people coming out towards me, and that's making me feel very uncomfortable because I'm not used to it.
Okay.
And
So
now,
pressure can only amplify what you are thinking and what you are feeling. Okay, so in this moment, you were so angry and confused by what happened that you allowed that thought to control your behavior, and that is something that we need to prepare for. Okay, meaning I'm going to do my walkthrough. I'm going to create a subconscious stage plan. Nobody else's actions are going to influence what I am going to do. And I'm so glad you learned that at that time. So now everybody watching this can just be ready for that. I don't see a lot of intentional sabotage. Um, and I don't know how pervasive it really is in the States. I don't think it happens that much. Has anybody on this call, has anybody ever been intentionally sabotaged by another competitor?
I haven't seen
No.
it myself.
Yeah. I haven't. And Andy, you've been to a ton of matches. Do you ever see it?
I've heard about it, but it's never happened to me. Thank
I do know that one time at a national event, a friend of mine had somebody load one of his bullets in his mag backwards.
Oh,
Uh, and when they confronted that individual, the individual said, "Hey, we're all trying to feed our families here. Sorry, not sorry."
oh my
So
word.
something as innocuous as leaving your magazines laying around may not be a good idea. Right? But the only thing pressure can do is amplify what you are thinking and feeling. And if you know what you're going to do and you are in control of what you are thinking and what you are feeling, pressure gives you more of that.
Well,
And
I can say after taking your class, I felt a lot of pressure when it
yeah,
came to go time. But now, prior, I probably run my stage plan several to a. I'm always shooting for 20 times. I never make it, but I'm shooting.
why
Um,
not?
once I step up, I don't feel pressure anymore. There's anticipation. There's another word, but it's not pressure because I'm solid in my plan. At least I think I am.
Is it excitement?
It's excitement. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm ready to go.
Here's the interesting thing about pressure, and it was actually Keita that pointed this out to me some time ago. Your body doesn't know the difference between excitement and anxiety in terms of how you physically feel. So think about two people in line for a roller coaster. One of them can't wait, the other one's scared to death. They feel exactly the same physically. So
Right.
choosing to be excited instead of scared is a great example of how controlling your thoughts can control what pressure does.
Yeah, I remember first stages at matches, I would look at my shooting hand, my strong hand, and say, "Stop shaking. Knock it off. Stop." That doesn't happen anymore. That doesn't exist. But
But
it did.
your hands will shake again, and you can shoot well when your hands are shaking. You can. That's another example of something that people believe. So if somebody believes that they can't shoot well when their hands are shaking, and what's interesting is, as soon as your hands only shake before you get the gun in them. Once you get the gun in your hands, they actually stop shaking. That may not be universally true, but that's true the vast majority of the time. And it's 100% of my experience is that my hands stop shaking once they get the gun on them. But pressure is going to change. Lamont, you may not be feeling it right now, but you will feel it at some point. And you just need to understand, thanks, buddy, that the only thing pressure can do is amplify what you are thinking and feeling.
All right, I'm not going to South Africa, but I gotta go fast. Don't suck.
That's fine.
Regional match coming up here in a couple of weeks.
Sure. Now, what about checking results in between days? What do we think about that?
Elaborate.
Well, so you're in a 3-day match. Are
Okay,
you looking at the results between day 1 and day 2? See how you're doing?
that's a good
There's
question.
lots of controversy between not checking and checking. Some
Okay.
people want to leave it to the gods
Right.
and just let the cards lay or fall, lay where they fall. I think it's important to monitor your progress and determine and also assess from a strategy perspective, assess what you did wrong and what you did right. And the only way you can do that is to have some type of measurement
But you're
towards
doing
it as
that,
well.
you're doing that after each stage anyway. So you already know what you needed to improve on per stage.
So
I'm referring to from a competitive level with regards to your placing, your overall performance against other competitors, just to determine if you actually so the skill level and where skill meets the meal meets mental the mental game, so to speak.
I
well,
wouldn't
Gina,
say my curiosity wouldn't be there, but I think it would be best for me to do what I'm supposed to do, stick to it, assess whether I'm doing it as I'm executing stages, and we'll see where I land at the end.
Gino, what is your skill level roughly?
I was a D grade shooter for approximately 2 years. Um,
You said B
oh,
Bravo,
no, D.
D
D
Delta.
grade. So I was getting about an average of 35 to 40% for
Okay.
about a year and a half. I then started training with a guy named Kevin. He's part of the SA team. I then managed to get a lower C level
Okay.
and been struggling. But since I've watched your mental management, I jumped from mid C C minus to B plus now
Excellent.
over the last 4 months.
If you are in a 3-day match and you notice that you're roughly 3 seconds off the pace compared to another B grade shooter, what are you going to do with that information?
Um, the with the 3 second delay, so to speak, if I'm 3 seconds behind the top B grade shooter, is that what you're referring to?
Correct.
I wouldn't push my luck. I feel that once I start pushing myself too hard, that's a time when I make mistakes. I feel that
Absolutely.
I should cement my skill level in my match mode dry fire and my practice. Competition's not the place to push my skill level beyond what I think it's capable of.
Exactly. So I have two opinions about checking results, maybe three, but at least two. Number one, if I've made a mistake, I've already corrected that mistake. And I probably don't need to know how much it cost me unless my self-image can handle that information. Now, what's interesting is people actually, it hurts them more when they find out they're doing better than expected. Does anybody know why that is?
Can you say that again?
It actually hurts people more to find out they're doing better than expected.
Because it takes away, well, I don't know. For me, I think it can take away the edge to keep me on the edge.
I don't think that's what it does. I think it scares people. It scares them. 2 years ago at Carry Optics, there was a guy at the end of day one. I'm not going to say his name, but one of the super squatters found out he was beating Christian Seiler. This guy never thought in a million years he'd be leading Christian Seiler after day one, and he didn't know what to do. It scared him because he thinks there's no way I can keep this up. And sure enough, he made a mistake on his first stage and put him right back below Christian Seiler, right where his self-image expected him to be. Because self-image doesn't give you the result you expect, it gives you the performance you expect. Now, Brian, you seem kind of surprised by that.
No, that makes sense to me. I mean,
So do
kind of
you,
lost my train of thought. Sorry.
it's okay. Do you tend to win your local match? Like, are you the guy?
No, I'm not quite there yet. You would,
Hang on. So your local match is 6 stages, let's say. You find out after stage 4 that you're winning by 10%. You don't expect that.
okay.
Right? It's probably going to make you nervous. You're probably going to change
Yes.
what you're doing. Right?
Yeah. I find that if I check results, like usually it's, somebody's, just seeing somebody's time on I'm shooting with, it distracts me from everything else. And then it's all I think about is where am I going to place in the match? And I'm only on the second stage, and it's kind of psyching myself out. You know what I mean? If lately I almost don't even look and see what my score is, if I got any deltas or Charlies or whatever. I just like, okay, that felt good, and walk away.
So short term, I think it's best to avoid looking at results, particularly when you first start going to larger matches. There's not a lot of useful information there. However, you ultimately need to get to a point where you can handle that information.
Okay.
Okay. And only because I know Andy, I think the best out of anybody on this call. Andy, are you still with us?
I'm here.
Okay. And because you're a freeloader who typically calls me on travel days to get 8 hours on the phone with me, will you tell us your experience with looking at scores during matches?
Yeah, it can get really bad. For some
Mhm.
people, it's really bad. When it was early in my career, when I did that a lot, it definitely didn't help. But now that I understand the scores a lot better, I can look at them. And oftentimes I do, just because a lot of the people I'm surrounded by end up telling me about something anyways related to my score. So I just use that as practice in a way,
Now,
to understand how I do in
That
that
was going to
situation.
be my next point. You've got to get to a place where you can handle it, because eventually the people are going to tell you.
now let me ask you, are you not talking about at the end you're clicking OK on the tablet, you're seeing your hit factor and your time?
Oh no, you definitely look at that. I'm talking
Right.
about your placement results.
Okay.
You
Okay.
know,
Yeah.
if you're in a 3-day match, what's your classification, Lamont?
B.
If you find out you're not only winning B class, but let's say you find out you're ahead of all the A class shooters too, and you still have 4 stages to shoot, what are you gonna do with that information?
Probably nothing good.
Well, what I need you to do when the results are better than expected, okay, I need you to know what you're doing and how you are doing it. Okay. The right way to process that is to go, hey, I'm doing a really good job following my process. We had several shooters shoot the best stages of their life. Okay. During this last weekend's class. What happens is we shoot a stage in the morning, and then you spend half the day with me, half the day with Kita, and then you switch. And it's really challenging because she's teaching a lot of technical things. I'm encouraging them to have a singular definition of success, right? But this group, it was the best I have ever seen individuals integrate new information, then shoot well with it. Andy's trained with both of us. I don't think he's had us both at the same time, but Andy knows what our approaches are. Keita is very do this exactly like this. My way is put the dot in the middle of the target. And they're both incredibly effective together. But my point is, these shooters had some of the best stages of their life. And I begged them to go write something down. And not a single person did that I saw. And maybe they made a note in their phone later, maybe they typed something, but I didn't see anybody get a notebook out and wrote, I had the best stage of my life because I did these things. And if we don't do that, we wind up thinking it's luck or what we had for breakfast or the weather or something that's not duplicable. But when you have a great performance, you must document what you did and how you did it.
Yeah, you warned us after the class that many will not do that and they're not going to get the results they want. I'm pushing A, but I'm not consistent because I'm not, and one of the things I'm not doing that.
You're not writing in your journal?
I'm not replicating what I'm doing right, because I'm doing a lot more right than I was a
Right.
while ago.
Exactly. See, people think that means complacency. They think what I'm saying is, oh, if you win a stage, you can quit practicing. I never said anything of the sort. What I'm saying is, when you're getting what you want, you have to know what you are doing. Very specifically. One of the guys that won the stage, he actually disagreed with Kita on the stage plan. Shot it and won the stage. Okay. And he said to me, I have never visualized a stage that many times in my life. So there's the first thing we learned. Okay. If I visualize a lot, I shoot better. Now, the other thing was, because he disagreed with Kita, he really wanted to, I don't want to say prove her wrong, if that makes sense. He really wanted his unique stage plan to be viable. So he got a better execution. That way he can say, I disagree with Kita on how to shoot this, and I won. Fantastic. So what he learned is he had confidence in his stage plan, and he got a lot of visualizations. So those are two good things to know. Okay. But regarding looking at results, if I've made a mistake, I should have already made the correction. And if I'm not performing the way I thought I should, again, I should have already made that correction. The most dangerous thing you can do is look at results and try to add speed. And Gino, that's where I thought you were going with that.
I reversed though. I found the last national match that I shot 4 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. The problem I faced was in between shooting. It's a 1 day match, and in between shooting, come to the last 3 stages, I got wind that I'm up for first place in the C class. And this is bumped me to B. And I got so taken in that I actually slowed down.
Yeah.
I found that I actually slowed down. And I find myself now that I'm shooting at a better level. It's not like I'm hard. It's hard to believe. It's a case of I don't want it to be a once-off thing. So I've got that sitting at the back of my mind the whole time. It's like I need to outperform myself. I need to outperform myself all the time. If this can't be a once-off thing.
It is hard to believe. We have an expression here in the States called imposter syndrome. And that occurs when we're performing better than we used to, better than expected. And we need to use the right term there, because what it really means is our skill has exceeded our self-image. And that's because we're not taking enough credit for what we're getting right. And because we're in this very public forum, I want to state that self-image is not the same as ego. Now, they can coexist, but I believe I'm one of the best mental coaches in shooting, if not the best. But that doesn't mean I have a big ego. Ego would be, I am so important to the sport that I am not going to do a free event. Instead, my self-image says, I'm a great mental coach and I want to help people get better. That's not ego, that's self-image.
Now, let me ask you a question. I've had stages where, I don't know, a quarter way in, there's 2 poppers, and I missed the first one, go ahead and take the second, come back maybe, and miss that popper 2 or 3 times. And now I'm pissed at myself. And I find myself, I have to, I don't want to say the word because you just said don't. Internally, I internalize, I must make this time up. Now I have successfully picked up the pace, shot very well, and it's like, okay, somehow I forced myself to execute sooner. Why am I not just operating at that point where I didn't get sloppy?
So that's like 3 different questions. Let's start with why you missed the popper.
Right.
Okay. Sight or trigger?
Sight.
Okay. So now we got that figured out. And the reason I mentioned that is most people, when they go to war on steel, it starts as a sight problem and becomes a trigger problem. because they thought it was a sight problem, or maybe it was. Now they're hitting the trigger really hard on a perfect sight picture. And then that anger just causes that snowball to just keep snowballing and snowballing and snowballing. Okay.
Yeah, I think I've done that.
Everybody has. Now, regarding what happens after, the worst thing you can do after a time suck is add penalty points to it. So if I've got a 6-second problem with steel or a malfunction or something like that, and I add 2 mics and 2 no shoots, I was way better off with my original 6-second problem. Now, what you talked about, Lamont, is difficult to diagnose. So,
And that's not every single time I have a screw up where I'm thinking, I'm not on autopilot, going to my subconscious. I'm thinking I screwed up. I need to make this up. Sometimes it works to my favor. Sometimes it doesn't.
well, there's 2 possibilities. Okay. If this new sense of urgency is coming off the brakes, that means you were on the brakes. If it's getting into the red zone, that's more likely to produce malfunctions. But most shooters, and you're relatively new, I think. You've
Yes.
been less than a couple of years.
This is my second full season.
Okay. So most people, until they train with me, they're always on the gas or they're always on their brakes. So not controlling speed at all is something that's very foreign to them. Okay. So there's one of two possibilities. What I think is happening is after the problem, you're just coming off the brakes.
I would agree.
And learning to come off the brakes without getting on the gas, that's a function of dry firing to get stupid fast, and then just put the dot in the middle of the target. Right? That's all there is. And the industry wants you to think it's a lot more complicated than that. But if you look at the Joey Sowland model, the JBO model, they dry fire to get fast. And they learned to call their shots, and they took mental management. That's what those 2 shooters have in common. And I've come to the conclusion that if you want to think about nothing while you're shooting, shot calling, really immersing yourself in shot calling is the only way I have ever found to get there on demand. Because when you're calling every shot, you can't think about anything else. When you has anybody but Andy done a live fire class with me?
I have.
Where was your live fire class, Lamont?
We were in Virginia. Kind of near Culpeper.
With Kevin McPhee, probably.
No, it was you and Tight
Oh,
Short.
me and Joey.
Yes.
Right? Okay, perfect. And we did shot calling in that class,
Oh,
correct?
yes, we did.
Okay. When you were learning to call your shots or practicing calling your shots, you never thought about your draw, did you?
Nope.
Not a single time. And weren't they all pretty good?
Yep.
And wasn't your grip always pretty good?
Yep.
Right? Now there's going to be anomalies there, but when all you care about is calling those shots, man, you literally cannot think about anything else. Because I don't think shot calling is thinking, I think it's observing. Okay. All right. 7:12. I've got time for random questions. If anybody has any questions about anything I do or anything that Keita and I do together, I'd be happy to answer those questions.
I didn't know you and Keita do things together.
We do classes together.
Right.
Yeah. We just started that in the last, I don't know, 6 to 8 months. But yeah, we are the classes that we do together are really amazing. Now they're different than the ones I do with Joey.
Right.
Joey's methodology is, I want you to rep this until your body figures out how to do it.
Right.
Keita's methodology is, I know exactly how your body needs to do this. Do it just like this.
And Keita probably isn't forcing you to do squats at the end.
She'll recommend them, but she won't make you do it. No. Yeah, the classes that we do together are really, really amazing. Just because we stay out of each other's lane. Like I don't have to talk about movement. I can say go see Keita. She doesn't have to talk about the mental game or fundamentals. She can say go see Steve.
Okay.
Go ahead, Brian.
Okay.
Yeah, I got a question about how do you separate self-image and being arrogant? So like I was kind of going through a phase where I was getting a little better, and I wasn't like down on myself, but I'm like, oh, I don't feel like I shot as good as I could have today. Like I had a couple no shoots or something, you know, and I'm like, oh, I shot like crap, but I'm just going to keep going kind of on autopilot. And I did, for me, I did good. I came in like fifth in the match overall. Like I did, for me, that's great, you know, and, and it seems like whenever I thought I was doing bad, I did good. And a little after that happened like 6 times in a row, I went to a USPSA match, which I don't do too many of those, but I do some of them. And I'm like, okay, don't be arrogant, but like I'm self-image. I am getting better at this. I'm doing good. I should think of myself as a good shooter. And I did shitty. I don't know if I was just getting lazy because of that or
Here's the
what?
difference. Well, there's 3 things going on there. Number one, you may have tried to duplicate a result instead of a process. Okay.
Okay.
Meaning I'm doing better. I should continue doing better, but I don't know or I've forgotten what I'm doing to do better. It's almost like making a really amazing meal and then thinking you don't need the recipe.
Okay.
Or like trying to build a house from a photograph instead of a blueprint.
All right. I have used the journal. I kind of got away from doing all the good things for a while. I had a lot of stuff going on, but I got back to using the journal over the weekend here. I guess I should have looked through that before I went to the match.
Right. The other thing is arrogance comes from a sense of importance, not skill. Self-image is about skill. Okay. I am a rapidly improving shooter, not I'm the most important person here. You see the difference?
Yes.
People use those terms interchangeably and they get it wrong. And
Is there any like I guess I understand the difference. I guess in my mind, if I'm doing well, I guess how do I stop myself from being like I'm not an arrogant person, but I think that's kind of why I didn't do well because I was feeling arrogant, you know?
right. And certain cultures, the Asian cultures and the Southern American culture are very likely to damage self-image to preserve humility. Okay. You can be the best shooter at the range and be the nicest guy. The answer to not being arrogant is just don't be a dick. You could be shooters too. Now, you don't need to tell people you're the best shooter there.
Right.
That
Which,
might be perceived as arrogant, but at a
yeah,
certain
I never say
point,
anything like that. Yeah.
Christian Siler's not worried about that. And a lot of people think he's cocky until they meet him. They find out he's not cocky at all. But his social media presence says, I deserve victory. I am expecting to win this match. And most people are like, yeah, guy's got a point. He probably is going to win this match. And that's a function of self-image. Arrogance would come into how he treats other people.
Okay.
Right? Not how he views his own skill. Are you the Brian from tomorrow's class?
Yes.
Yeah, so we're gonna get into all this.
Okay, cool.
So I've got a question.
Sure.
The journal gets mentioned all the time. I've not had the opportunity to really write a journal yet. I find it difficult in between resetting stages and loading bags and walking stages, running around. I find that there's not much time. I think I'm just using that as an excuse. The problem I'm facing is that I try to shoot with the super squad as much as possible to try and gather how they go into match mode and that as well. Sometimes mimic the stage if I'm unclear sometimes and try and cement that in. What I've noticed is there are occasions where I outperform the top shooter on stages, but I make a mental note of it. But it seems like I get home and I completely forget why I did good on that stage. Not necessarily, and it's not a case of why I did good. It's like, why did I beat that person in that stage? Why did I not suck as bad as he did? And I sometimes feel like it's a case where I just made less mistakes than what the other person did.
Yeah. So once again, we have three different issues here. Number one, the journal is not necessarily for during the match. It's a little bit more appropriate after the match, because of the time component. And you just brought up again, and this is not meant to sound rude or counterintuitive, but Gino doesn't know what he's doing when he's getting it right. And that's probably because you may have a past of not ever acknowledging that you're getting it right. And you need to know when you beat another super squatter, you need to know what you did. And I'm guessing it's usually a case. So when you outperform other top shooters, do you know the stage incredibly well?
Yes,
Do you have a positive opinion of the stage and or your plan?
I've realized that I don't pay attention to any of the shooters before me on those stages. I
Ah,
just, I've realized that I just don't care about them. I just go reset, and well, for the last couple of matches, just been focusing on replaying it over and over in my mind. What am I doing while I'm resetting? I'm just doing a small walkthrough, or just trying to get a mental note of certain aspect of the stage. But I've tried not to pay attention, and I'm seeing it happen more frequently. But I still don't know what the magic formula is.
well, I promise you, Gino, if you start writing down how you're spending your time prior to shooting, you're going to find similarities that are duplicable. So we are, but you didn't answer my question. Is it more likely to be a great one if you like the stage and or your plan?
Yes.
Good. So liking the stage and liking the plan can be controlled. Kristen Seiler loves every stage. Joey Sauerland loves every stage. They choose to have a positive opinion of the stage and the plan.
I, mhm. I do get doubt in my head because I'm a left-handed shooter and I'm right-eye dominant. I always get this doubt that I should be running the stage in the other direction, or what people perceive, or what I should perceive as my advantage. That
Well,
always comes up in my mind.
have you found that to
Eh?
be true?
No, I've not. I've people tell me you should have run it the other way, but I'm like, but this felt comfortable.
Yeah, and you're winning, right? Getting better and winning.
Yeah.
Yeah, just because they have a different opinion doesn't mean you're wrong. And a well-designed stage will have multiple options that are competitively viable. You guys got to remember that. Okay, if it's a well-designed stage, there will be at least two viable ways to shoot it. If there's only one good way to shoot it, then it's not a well-designed stage. I have been to so many matches with so many super squads, and there's usually four different stage plans. And the guys are all within a second or a half second of each other.
And
My
one thing I have done is literally sit in the car, and I've even pulled over and said, "Oh yeah, I need to write." This was earlier on after your class. I need to pull over and write my journal before I get on the freeway heading home. Get it done.
the
Um,
other thing
am
that
I consistent with that now? Not so much, and that's probably
well,
should.
once you get into the habit, once you see the power of it, you will start looking for things to write in it because you've experienced the power of it. And I know it's an easy habit to get out of. It doesn't take much change in our lives to disrupt that habit. Um, and by the way, Lamont, I have to say, is that a fake background you're sitting in front of?
It is a fake background, my friend.
That is the most boring fake background I have ever seen.
It's
Like,
from my work.
we're gonna have a fake background. It should be more interesting than that. It should be a giant guitar amplifier.
Oh, yeah.
But going back to the journal, it's simply where we write down the things we learn, and we write down what we're doing when we're getting it right, precisely so we can duplicate it. And I don't know why people are so opposed to it.
I usually tend to do it when I get home. I don't know if I should maybe try to do it when I'm still there, or
So it's best to do it when the emotion is present.
okay.
I'm not going to tell you that you should write in your journal in between every stage, but it should be in your range bag so that if something really extraordinary happens, you can take a moment and document precisely so you don't forget.
Okay.
So that you don't forget to document and you don't forget what the thing actually was.
Yeah.
For example, Gino left out that he's learned that he shoots better when he doesn't watch other competitors. Well, that's good to know.
Mm.
Mm.
Um,
It's at the back of my mind. I've just taken a mental note, but not written it down. So therefore, I have to go recall that as opposed to know it as a fact.
Gino,
Correct.
I find because I too try to with my local super squad guys, my GMs and masters, I try to squad with them whenever I can squeeze into their squad. But and this is the time I on in between stages that I should write it down is when I get that visceral from one of my super squad guys
Mm.
as I'm finishing it. Great run, Lamont, or I'm just finishing it and I hear a yeah kind of thing. And I know I
Scary.
killed it. I know I killed it, and I'm getting affirmation from the guys I respect. But can I tell you what I did that was special that time? No, but those are the ones I need to journal.
I have the same thing.
Tell me,
I'm not always sure why it went well.
right, that's what we have to know, guys. What am I doing when I'm getting it right? And I promise you, these are the conditions.
They see it.
Know the stage inside and out, correct?
Yep,
You have a positive opinion of the stage and or your plan.
yep. Mostly the plan.
Visualized it a bunch,
Yep,
and you weren't thinking very much while you were shooting.
absolutely.
Those are the components. And I'm the only guy in the industry that's going to talk to you about duplicating that. Everybody else is going to tell you it's luck.
My best stages are when I'm done. I do think about that post. I wasn't I don't think I had a thought during that stage.
Mm.
See,
Maybe a fleeting one, maybe one fleeting one, but basically it was a blur. But and I don't mean blur, I didn't see it
I
because
know, I know. And that's usually caused by thinking about what you need to see or what you are going to see. And that's the point of focus for mental management. Mine is center the dot, call the shot. When I surrender to that, that creates this environment that you're talking about.
and I just recently noticed or experienced when I'm in that zone, I'm ahead of the game. So I've engaged this target. I saw what I needed to see, and I'm almost for the next target. I'm almost I'm already there. In other words, I'm ahead. Um, it's like I'm always when that happens, I'm always ahead where I'm like, hurry up and bring the gun over. What are you waiting for?
Oh yeah, I've done
But
that.
that's in fractions of a second. But I'm like, let's move. I don't know how to explain it, but I'm ahead.
I do. Okay. You talked earlier about, I think it was you that talked about experiencing a sense of urgency after a mistake.
Correct. Yes.
What you just discovered is the way for you to come off the brakes is for that what you see to be the only thing you care about. And you have the ability to do things faster than you think you do. So what's happening to you is you're subconsciously getting faster as an athlete, and you're now experiencing that because you're off the brakes a little bit.
Right. My bandwidth is growing.
Yeah. Yeah, because shooters spend most of their careers trying to decide between speeding up and slowing down. And I come along and say, neither.
Mm.
And the best way to understand that is the right speed to drive in a traffic jam is the flow of traffic. Well, targets are traffic. And the right speed to shoot is the speed at which you can negotiate each target. But if you
I tell myself,
you're
oh,
going to get it wrong. Go ahead, Gino.
I tell myself, eyes grip, eyes hands before I shoot. I'm standing there. They do the make ready, command. I keep my hands on my gun and my mags. I take my hand off my mag. I know where my hands are going. I just do my support hand. I just close it and grip it a little. I'm just telling myself I need to grip the gun and I need to look before I shoot. That's all I've been telling myself for the last couple of matches, and I'm seeing more consistency, not necessarily more speed, and that I'm struggling with the speed at the moment.
Speed comes from operated in training at an uncomfortable level.
Okay.
And that means accuracy is going to suffer when you learn to do things faster. And the biggest mistake people make is when they're training speed in practice, they're evaluating accuracy. And if you could shoot alphas at a more rapid rate, you'd already be doing it. So for you to do something quicker, whatever it is going to have a short-term degradation of accuracy.
Okay.
That's what
Makes sense.
That's what makes the classes that Keita and I are doing together so amazing, is that when she's working on foot speed and movement and entries and exits, they don't even pace the targets. Because why?
I tend to have a higher degree of accuracy than the other guys. I'll for example place 8th, and then I've got the higher accuracy than the guy that plays 2nd. He just
Perfect.
beat me because of his time.
Right. What you need to do is learn to become, and I'll say it South African style, faster in training. The first time I went to South Africa, there were people that were literally trying to quit the class. They were getting really angry with me because I said, you guys, we're trying to get faster. And they're like, yeah, but alpha. And I'm like, yeah, but slow. Shooting alphas is not a skill. It's a decision at a certain level. And Gino, the only thing you need to do, and I give this, and Joey Saladin is the only one who's really ever done it to this extent. Jay Beal did in the beginning, but he's on to other things now. All Joey Saladin has ever done is put a par time on something and reduced it. That's it. El Prez is the easiest example. Do you know what the El Presidente drill is, Gino?
Yes, 3 targets, 2 shots per target.
Yeah. So you're going to shoot that, and it's going to take you 6 seconds. Okay. Now you're going to drive fire at 5.8. Now you're going to drive fire at 5.5. Now you're going to drive fire at 5.25. Now you're going to go down to 4 flat. Okay. The next time you shoot that for score, one of 3 things is going to happen. You're either going to slow down and have virtually the same performance, you're going to get significantly quicker with an accuracy problem, or you're going to get a little bit faster with the same points. And those outcomes are all, well, the first one's not acceptable, but those outcomes are acceptable. So if you went from 6 seconds, all A's, to 4 seconds and 1 miss, would you be happy?
Yes.
I'd be overjoyed. Because you can fix the accuracy problem.
You can fix that miss if you know what you did.
Correct.
Yes, if you call it properly, yes.
And it was either sight or trigger.
And you likely knew it when it happened.
Right. But so this gets into like speed mode live fire, which is a thing. So I used to have this goal of doing a sub 3 second El Prez, and I don't know how much of my life I want to dedicate to it. But if I did a 2.9 with a miss, I would be so overjoyed, because
I think I saw something like that a couple of months ago. You did one with your open gun. With the swinger target. I was actually quite amazed on with regards to how I didn't understand the concept. It makes more sense now with regards to what you're saying.
Yeah, just all you have to do is drive fire faster than you want to live fire, and just understand that the accuracy is going to be messy during this process.
Okay.
Because negative imprints during training is the biggest problem in the sport. Well, it's conscious control of speed is one problem, but negative imprints during training. So these thoughts we have in training become the shooter that goes to the match. So if I'm constantly telling myself I'm slow, I'm gonna be slow at the match, or because I'm afraid of being slow, I'm gonna get in a hurry at the match. When I first came to South Africa, Gino, the shooters were shooting perfect alphas in training and then speeding up at the match and having accuracy problems.
Yeah, that was me. I was like that.
I said, we need to switch it. We need to go fast and have accuracy problems in training, and in the match choose to shoot alphas without consciously slowing down.
I'm finding here lately, I think I get my best performances for me at this juncture is my focus phrase is for me is eyes move first. If I move my eyes first to my spot, I blaze for my skill level.
Didn't you just tell us that when you're properly surrendered, you find yourself ahead?
Yes.
That's because you've trained yourself that your eyes go first.
Yeah. It just works. It's like magic when I do it. If I don't, it's not magic.
The only
I'm
time,
shooting.
the only time it'll fail is if you try to put speed on it. If you say eyes lead first, but go faster, that's when it stops working. Because now
Yeah,
you
see what you need to see was the phrase for me.
have, fantastic. I like that one a little bit better for iron sights. Nobody shoots iron sights anymore. Well, very few, but the different levels of focus that you need between the sights and the target is always changing with iron sight shooting. And when I tried to predict it or assign it, it wasn't as good. But when I just put the gun up, well, oh, yep, good enough, good enough, good enough, good enough. It dramatically changed my iron sight shooting.
Actually, I just answered the statement I made a little while ago, why I feel ahead. It's because my eyes are already over there. Duh.
Right. You came to the same conclusion I did at the exact same time.
Duh. And so I feel like the gun's catching up. Well, it is.
It is. It is.
Well,
I can't believe
I
you
shot
watched me in the
optics a
background
few.
after I made fun of it. That's awesome. I shamed him into changing it. That's hilarious.
You know.
All right, guys, I need to get going and grab some dinner. Is there anything else you'd like to discuss quickly?
Oh, this is great.
Okay,
And I'm
No,
not
this is
even going to
wonderful.
South Africa, but I'm glad I came.
cool. All right, and Brian, I will see you tomorrow at 6 p.m. The rest of you guys, let me know if I can be of help to you in the future, okay?
Thank you.
Will do. Thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
Have a wonderful day.
Thanks,
Oh,
Steve.
hang on, we have to do the catchy catchphrase. Does somebody want to do it? Until we meet again, be like me, do what I do, say it with me. 1, 2, 3, love you, bye, and nobody knows.
Oh my God.
Get
I don't know.
to work.
Get to work.
Get
Let's
to it.
go. Get to work.